Hey everyone, have a here, bring a video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, it is time for another edition of Best Teams on Global. This is the Worldwide Celebration Part 1. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is going to be a semi-abbreviated version. I'm not going to go super in-depth like I would normally do. However, I will show the slides for the teams. However, of course, we have part 2 coming in about 2 weeks from now. We're just fresh off from the 9-year anniversary. We're kind of in that meta right now where Global doesn't have like a level up in terms of difficulty. We don't have Goku Frieza event. We don't have the Bulma event. We don't even have LR Jiren right now, the AGL Carnival Jiren. So that's why we're still doing the global version versus just best teams in the game, right? So a lot to think about as we then move on to part 2. I think part 2 I'll do a full version, but we'll stick with a semi-abbreviated version in part 1 here. So of course we ended up getting 2 amazing new units in the Dokkan Festival exclusive LR GGT and then the LR Carnival Broly. So of course adding these 2 units did make some changes. So if you look at the previous version or the previous month, not even a month, a couple of weeks, pre-Worldwide Celebration or post-anniversary, these were the top 10 teams here. Number 10 was Topo. Then you had the Beast, not the Beast, the Battle of Fate. Then you have Murzumasu. You have Pure Saiyans with Gaku. You have Super Saiyans right here. Then you have the Buu Saga. You have movie Heroes. Then Super Bosses. Then you have Universal Survival Saga and Tech UI Goku. And then you have Super Heroes with Beast Gohan, right? So those were the top 10. We did make some movement. Just a lot of shuffling here. I think ultimately, in my subjective opinion, we got the top 10 right. So we're not going to do any honorable mentions. Again, semi-abbreviated, so we're just gonna go right in and dive into the number 10 spot. So the number 10 spot is actually, in a sense, 2 teams. We're gonna say it's Battle of Fate, and in the combination of Future Saga, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, and then you have Power of Wishes and Battle of Fate. So these 2 units do get an upgrade in a sense, right? You are going to be running LRGGT as a 150% floater here. So the biggest issue, of course, this team is a non-transformed Vegito Blue, and having him in first position is almost a must because if you take him off of first position, you lose a lot of defensive boost here. However, running a 2-turn buff in STR Bulma and then LRGGT, it's going to help get through those couple turns before you transform. And then once you transform, you can then easily move Vegito Blue out of the main spot there and, put him at whatever spot you want to, while Evolution Vegeta and Beast Gohan do their thing in the main rotation. And generally you want to put them in the first spot. So in terms of the Spirit Bomb, LR Spirit Bomb Z, right, you're also running a Bulma and a LRGGT to 2-turn boost here. However, everyone, as you can see here, besides the leader, is running at 170% because Power Wishes Battle of Fate 170 is great, but Final Trump Card and Shadow Dragon Saga is very limiting on who you're going to be able to run at 200%. So the best units you're going to be running here. The reason why you're pairing up LRGGT with Beast Gohan, because Beast Gohan, you're able to activate that 77% boost. Whereas if you did not have Beast Gohan and you had somebody else, and then Bulma showed up on that rotation, you're not going to get that 77% boost to all allies. So that's important to capture, especially on this team, because the weakest portion of this team is going to be the leader in the Spirit Bomb GT. But once he gets his super attacks off, and with the 2-turn support with Bulma and LRGGT, he should be fine. So again, coming number 10 will be the Battle of Fate, kind of a dual type of team here. I don't know if I'll have to separate this in the future, but again, they're very similar, being that they're both running a double support LRGGT and Bulma. So coming number 10 is the Battle of Fate. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Hybrid Saiyans with Goku here. So this team really didn't get an upgrade, so it just moved down in spots because you can't run LRGGT, you can't run the Carnival Broly, even though he is Pure Saiyans, because the biggest restriction of Gaku here is you have to run all super class units. You cannot run an extreme class unit on here. That's why you can't put the Big Bang Vegeta on here. You can't put the new Broly, because Gaku is pretty ineffective when you don't have a full super team, but still an incredible team. A majority of these units are running at 170%. However, I would say 9 and 10 are very similar, whereas you can run Evolution Vegeta and MUI Goku in a rotation here with Beast Gohan at 200%, and then this team here, you can't run MUI Goku, and then you're running everybody at 170, and then you're running 2 150s, and then you can't run MUI Goku on this team, right? So all little small differences, but that's kind of where you have to end up with a ranking here. So number 10 and then number 9, a little bit interchangeable. I can even put this in the 10th spot and move this up into the 9th spot. So moving up to the number 8 spot is going to be used to be a top 5 team, but just other teams just gotten better, and this team just kind of slid down the rankings, and that is Majin Buu Saga, and in this case merged with the Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku, and then you also have the Fat Buu here. Both of these are incredible leaders, building kind of 2 different teams, but you can just basically call them Majin Buu Saga, right? So your majority of the teams that you're going to be running, or the units you're going to be running, is Majin Buu Saga. Besides this team here, of course, you're running MUI Goku and then Tech UI Goku. So both incredibly strong. And don't forget, Cell Max 2 is still the top meta difficulty for global, and most of these teams can handle that pretty well. And this team absolutely can do that, even though none of the 2 units are added on to this team here. So coming in number 8 is Majin Buu Saga. And that brings us to number 7. Might be a surprise to people, but I think if you run this team here, you're not surprised, because it's not a top 5 team, but it's still a top 10 team. That's going to be Movie Bosses with the new Tech Carnival Broly. So why is this basically a problem? Well, technically is because of this unit here not meeting standards, right? Situational. If you're running him in a certain fight, Goku Pure Saiyans type of fight on there, he's gonna run very strongly, run very well, but generally you're gonna want to move him off of rotation anyway when you transform with the full power Broly, so your team's gonna look something like this. Now the biggest issue with the Movie Bosses team is look at the bench strength, right? When you're running Cell Max, you omit a bunch of other units, but those units aren't very good anyway, so you only have a small handful of units that you can run this team, so the limitation of flexibility is very weak. So I was actually thinking that this should be in the number 8 spot, and then because of a lot of flexibility and huge bench strength for Majin Buu Saga, this should actually be in the number 7 spot. But maybe because of recency bias, I'm going to leave here at the LR Tech Broly in the number 7 spot for now. This should get better, right? Part 2 should get better. And well, that's what I was hoping with the Tech Broly when he EZAs, right? That's what we're hoping. That's what we're hoping. Hopefully it's better than the Int Dokkan Festival exclusive EZA. So that's coming in at number 7. Some of you guys might disagree with that, but yeah, running 2 Tech Carnival Brolys is a very, very high benefit, but the rest of the team also needs to be good as well. So coming in number 6, it didn't change. So I feel like this is like the standard for your top 10. Is it better than Big Bang Vegeta, or is it worse than Big Bang Vegeta, right? Because this team is great. This team is very fun. The thing is, when you're running LRGGT on this team here, you might be running him as a floater, given the fact that if you don't run him at floater, you run him at main rotation, then everybody in your floaters need to be all out struggler or movie heroes, and that kind of can't happen very regularly. So you're gonna have to run the team that's gonna be something like this, where you have Gogeta in the main rotation and Evolution Vegeta running the main rotation, because they both can activate that 77% boost for the LRGGT, right? So I think that's important for you guys to know, and if you guys mix up the rotations, you might not get those additional support. Man, I'll tell you what, who's really good that we don't really talk about enough is King Vegeta. King Vegeta on this team is amazing, and you're gonna give him additional defensive support for 2 turns. Yeah, and he benefits everybody who is a Pure Saiyans, or I forget what the other category is, and then for all other allies, additional 30%. You can boost up to 60% for the Vegeta, right? Because he's Pure Saiyans and he's a Vegeta. So yeah, I don't think we talk enough about King Vegeta and how actually good of a support unit he is. And yeah, that's why this is the number 6 spot. I was thinking, should he be higher? He's definitely not lower, but he could technically be higher than some of these other spots here. So let's talk about the top 5 here. Top 5, starting in number 5 spot, I would say no surprise, it's going to be Super Bosses. Now, it may be a surprise that it dropped a couple spots, but yeah, I think we're fitting him in the right spot here. You do get an upgrade in the Tech Carnival Broly. We are missing, if we had AGL Carnival Jiren on here, this would look like a lot better team on the floater side. The floaters are pretty weak. You do need certain units to run when you're running Cell Max. However, we forget, if you take Cell Max off of this team, you do open it up to a lot of different other rotations that are as good or even better. Something more like this right here, right? So this team here is incredibly good as well, with Beast Gohan running at 200% and Evolution Vegeta running here at 170. But then you can put the Chile Lemo Broly with the Tech Carnival Broly, and then you can make that transformation over here, and then you can just put them in the main spot. There's a lot of things you can do when you take Cell Max out. Cell Max is one of those units, if you're running him, you got to run a team around him, versus letting loose in the Super Bosses, because it does have a lot of options here. That's the reason why I have him in number 5, is this flexibility. So a little bit opposite, right, is number 4 in terms of its movie heroes. So we have Super Bosses into movie heroes. So you have the Gogeta here. You're now able to run LRGGT as a 200%. Here, I do have him in main rotation here, which might not be the best idea, but here's a very, very fun team that you can run. Is you can run the exchange Piccolo and Vegeta in the main rotation with Beast Gohan, and he actually activates the unit super attack for Beast Gohan, and then it was able to buff a lot of other individuals. And then you do have to run LR Piccolo in that first tanking spot there if you don't want to run LRGGT in the main tanking spot and have Gogeta be in the main rotation, right? So I think this team is actually very, very strong. And then when he transforms, he can then go in possibly in the main rotation, or spread it down over here, right? But again, having this unit here buff Beast Gohan and then everybody else, that's highly beneficial for the rotation. So yeah, coming in number 4, I think this is a better standalone team and less flexible as the super bosses. But I think both of them are very, very good, and I think these two are kind of interchangeable from 4 and 5. So now let's move to the top 3. And speaking of interchangeable, any of these 3 I will understand if you ranked them as the number 1 spot. But right now, again, Cell Max 2 being the hardest event, and Goku Frieza hasn't come out yet, Bulma hasn't come out yet, other things haven't come out yet. I'm going to stick to my guns here and say the LRGGT team, All Out Struggle, Super Saiyans, and Power Wishes is going to be in the 3rd spot. Now, a lot of people might argue that LRGGT is the best unit in the game, and you're running 2 of those units here, buffing up by double 77%, right? So 150, 54, right? That's a huge boost in defense. But again, you're kind of limited, meaning that you do have to find units that are either movie bosses. I'm sorry, not movie heroes, not movie bosses, movie heroes, and then or All Out Struggle. In this case, that's what you're seeing here. And so another team that you can run is this team here with your quintupling support, which is absolutely fun. So definitely try out this team as something that you might mess around with and say, okay, I'm going to support everybody on here, and give it a shot and try it out. Again, you have to run the GGT with superheroes or All Out Struggle. So I think you quickly saw number 2 is going to be Universal Survival Saga. GGT was able to run here at 170%. You're going to have to run it with either the Vegeta or the Gohan here, because they both will activate its passive. But yeah, it's incredibly strong, right? This might be the only team. I think this might be the only team. Beast Gohan, MUI Goku, Evolution Vegeta, and Tech UI Goku. Right? Is this the only team that you can run that? I think so. With the Gammas. Is there another team? I'm trying to think if there's another team. But you're running majority of them at 200%. Just the top row you're running at 170, which is fine, right? Then you're going to get that domain up and transform, and yeah, just incredibly strong. So that leaves number 1 is going to be Beast Gohan as the king still. The number 1 spot with Superheroes, Bottom Master of the Cyborg Miraculous Awakening. You aren't running GGT on here, so it depends on how much you love the new Goku, Gohan, and Trunks. That's going to be your main difference. But you can also make the main difference here is you're running 2 Tech UI Gokus, which is actually more limiting because you have to get through those first couple of turns. Over here you have 2 Beast Gohans, which is kind of a cheat code. Over here you have 2 LRGGTs, which is also kind of a cheat code here. But the team around you, I don't think is as strong as the Beast Gohan team, right? So big difference here. I did run auto mode for Cell Max 2, and this was the team that actually completed it. Not using Gammas, by the way. I believe I used the Piccolo here to run the auto mode there. And then these two, I won't say failed miserably, but had some tough times, tough issues, right? So so that's, I can't of course just judge on that, but when you can auto complete Cell Max 2, you have my respect. So coming in number 1, staying at number 1, Superheroes with Beast Gohan, which leaves us to then show you this here, and this is basically the teams in full ranking here. So when you look at 9 and 10, I think they're very similar to the get together there. I think 7 and 8 can be interchangeable as well. I think the anchor to this list here is Big Bang Vegeta and Super Saiyans. Are the team worse or better than Big Bang Vegeta? In this case, I think these are worse, and these are better, slightly better for these two here. I think these two here are interchangeable as well. You can have Super Bosses or Movie Heroes before a 5, and then the three here are just too good, right? They're too good. If you want to rank any of these 1, again, I understand completely. But one thing I was thinking about, well, what if I put Super Saiyans, quote unquote Super Saiyans, Vegeta family Super Saiyans in the is merging with the LRGGT? It makes sense to do so, but I think the teams are so different that we'll just kind of leave it be. So that's for now. We'll see what we do in part 2. But I think this is the top 10 team. I think this is a fair assessment of where we are right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Am I crazy? Am I right? Am I wrong? Love the constructive criticism. And yeah, we'll see what happens in part 2. We'll see if movie bosses get a massive upgrade and move them into the top 5, or you know, that team still kind of just hangs on there. So we'll see in a couple weeks. But anyway, if you are new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching. Keep on Dokkaning, and we will catch you next time. Later.